Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session of medical terminology, we are going to discuss about few more suffixes that we use with medical terminology, and we are going to process in the very similar way. Firstly, I'll tell you the names of those suffixes that we are going to learn. Then we will try to understand their meaning, and along with the meaning, we will also see the examples of each and every suffix, because learning by examples will help you to identify the terminology by looking at their suffix in interviews as well. Most of you might be preparing for CPC exam or for any other program, any other exam. So there, you will get some questions on the basis of terminology where we have to identify the terminology meaning. So by looking at the suffix example, it will help you to understand the things in a better way. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. But before we proceed further, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use these suffixes with medical terminology and how to identify the terminology. Clear? Alright, so let's get started. The first suffix we have is the phasia. Phasia, okay. So those who don't know about the suffix is a word that attach in the end part of the root word, or you can say any terminology, and from there it gives some information. Like here you can see phasia. Whenever you see the suffix phasia, it means it is something related to speech. Okay. So now whenever we want to demonstrate, we want to represent something related to speech, then in those terminology you will find the phasia in the end. For example, aphasia. Here you can see one example, aphasia, which means loss or impairment of the ability to speak or understand speech. Clear? So this kind of condition we define with aphasia, where phasia is a suffix. The second thing is dysphasia. Dysphasia means difficulty with speaking or understanding language, which is less severe than the aphasia. So these are the two different things. Here the difficulty level is less. You can say this is less severe, but this is higher severe. Okay. So we discuss about two examples, phasia and dysphasia. Sorry, aphasia and dysphasia. Remember one thing, whenever we are learning about any suffix, it should always keep in mind that there might be some alternatives also. If we are using any speech, if we are using phasia for denoting speech, then there should be some other terminologies also which also represent the speech. So don't get confused there, okay? We have to identify each and every suffix alternative. Alright, the second thing is plasia. Now you can see they both sound something similar, but they are different. Here we are using plasia, which is plasia, and here we have phasia. So plasia means growth and formation. So through medical terminology, if you want to show the production, growth or formation of something, then in that case we will utilize the plasia. So here you can see the first example is hyperplasia, which is excessive growth of cells in a tissue or organ. Excessive growth of cells in tissue or organ. Then we have second thing, that is aplasia. Aplasia means absence of development or formation of tissue or organ. So again we are talking about the formation, we are talking about the growth. In first part we are talking about excessive growth of cells in a tissue or organ. So when there is a excessive growth, then in that case we will use the terminology hyperplasia, where plasia is a suffix that is giving the information related to growth and formation. In the second example we have aplasia, which is absence of development or formation of a tissue or organ. So again here we are talking about the development or formation. So these are the two suffixes that we use to denote speech and growth and formation. Now we will move to the next suffix, that is plastic. So the meaning of plastic is pertaining to growth or formation. So same thing I explained you that there might be some alternatives. So here you can see we are using growth and formation with plasia. We're denoting it with plasia, right? Similarly, we have plastic, that is also used for showing the growth and formation. So here you can see hyperplastic, pertaining to excessive cell growth. So when there is excessive cell growth, we will use the terminology plastic. Then we have hypoplastic, which is pertaining to underdevelopment. If something is not growing, something is not formatting, then this thing is underdevelopment, right? So that situation, that scenario we will describe with the terminology hypoplastic, where plastic is a suffix. Then we have next, which is plegia, which is related to paralysis. So if you want to denote something as a paralysis, then in that case we will utilize the suffix plegia. Now here we have examples. The first example is quadriplegia. That means paralysis of all four limbs, arms as well as legs. So suppose there is a patient whose both legs and both arms is not working due to the paralysis. So such condition we will denote with the terminology quadriplegia, where paralysis of all four limbs, arms and legs occur. Okay, so by looking at the terminology itself, you can identify that quad means 4. This thing we learned in the prefix series, right, when we talked about the prefix. So quad means 4, plegia means something related to paralysis. So that means quadriplegia, that is paralysis of all four limbs, arms and legs. Clear? Then we have monoplegia. Monoplegia means paralysis of single limb or muscle group. Yes. So if you want to show the paralysis impact but only in one limb, then in that case we will use the terminology monoplegia, where mono is denoting one and plegia is denoting paralysis. Clear? So these are the two examples. You can also learn more example by looking at the book, and because as many as example you go through, it will help you to remember the things in a longer way. But here we just discuss about the basic as well as the most useful terminology, so that you can easily relate the examples with the scenarios. Clear? Fine. Now the next thing is we have is pnea. Okay, pnea. Pnea means breathing. So if something is related to breathing, then in that case we will use the suffix pnea. For example, apnea. Apnea means absence of breathing. So suppose there is one patient who is facing some issues while taking the breath. He is not able to take the breath properly. So in that case we can use this thing that there is an absence of breathing in this patient profile. So that term we will denote with the help of apnea, which is a terminology, and pnea is a suffix. Then we have dyspnea. Dyspnea means difficult or labored breathing. Yes. So in such a situation, like if patient is facing some difficulty in absence, means there is no breathing at all. But I explained with the example which I took related to patient should be considered here in dyspnea, because he is facing difficulty. If there is no breathing at all, then in that case we will use the terminology apnea. But dyspnea is used when there is a difficulty or labeled breathing. Okay. Then we have last suffix for this session, that is poiesis. Poiesis means production and formation. So again you can see we are using production and formation to denote the terminology, where we are using suffix poiesis. So example is hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis means production of blood cell. So when you want to show the production of blood cell, then in that case we will use the terminology hematopoiesis. Next is leukopoiesis. That means production of white blood cells. So if there is a rapid production of white blood cell, then in that case we will use the terminology leukopoiesis, which denotes the production and formation of white blood cell. Clear? So these are the all suffix that we discuss in this particular session. First is phasia, that is used to denote speech. Second is plasia, which is used to show the growth and formation. Then we have plastic, that is for pertaining to the growth and formation. Plegia is for paralysis, and pnea is for breathing, and the last one is poiesis, that is again used for denoting the production and formation. Okay, so I hope this session is clear to all of you. Now I have one question for all of you, and today's question is, why do we use pathy suffix? This question is not only for helping other, but also it will help you to remember these suffixes for a longer time. If you know the answer, I would request you to please share your answer in the comment section, so that those who are not aware, they can refer it through the comments. And like if you don't know the answer somehow, so you can, don't worry, like there is a separate session. In previous session you will find the actual meaning of this suffix, and then you can learn from there, and then you can comment in the comment section. Okay, so I hope you will share the answer in the comment section. That's for today. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.